Welcome back to day 15 or lesson 15. If you don't have to do these every day, sometimes it's much better to take your time with it and allow plenty of time between lessons that you can really absorb the content and really get into um, letting a lot of things sink in, because this is deep work. It just really is. So take your time with it. So as I mentioned in the last lesson, in day 14, we are transforming the fear zone into a receiving zone. So you understand why we need to identify those fears out there. We need to know what they are, because those things knock us off of alignment, for one, and keep us from our focus, keep us from going into that empowerment zone, keep us from feeling the best that we can feel. And it also keeps us from loving the best that we can love. It keeps us from giving that love and kindness and compassion. And so those things out there in that outer zone that we build walls around, made of fear and all kinds of other things. There's other things we can build walls out of. I'll tell you what they are. Fears, which is what we're really talking about in this class. Resentment, shame, and our own personal differences. So all those things can build walls out there in the fear zone, but in your outer zone. But for today, we're talking about just the fears. We want to know about those fears out there, those fear walls that we need to knock down, and we need to transform that space. Today, we want to start to, we identified yesterday what we had going on, what it was that would pull us out of alignment, what those threats were, who delivered those threats, who we had the fears surrounding, who we blocked off from love, who we blocked off from feeling love from because of those fears. We identified that, right? So now we want to clean that up. We want to clean that up. We don't want that. We don't want that mess out there, right? We all have an outer world. We're not going to do away with that. We want one. We want a physical experience. But we want a clean one. We want to tidy this stuff up. So let's tidy up your outer world, and let's change it from a fear zone. We don't want a fear zone out there. We want a receiving zone. We want everyone who comes into our outer world, who comes into contact with us, that experiences us in any way, to be able to receive from us. So we don't want to build any walls of resentment, of fear, of personal differences, I can't remember what the other one was, shame. We don't want to build any of those walls. We want it clear. We want it clean. We want anyone who comes in contact with us to be able to feel that empowerment, that love, that unconditional love, that safe space come through us to them. That is our ultimate goal. So let's get into the lesson. So we've identified some people and situations in your world that you hold fear around. Since we hold fear around those people and situations, they can only now listen to this. This is important. When we do that, when we wall them off in a ball of fear, okay, they can only deliver us the product of fear, such as drama, confusion, emotional pain, and suffering. They're delivery drivers, right? And we want them to be able to deliver God to us. We want them to deliver love to us, and compassion and kindness and patience and all those wonderful things, right? But when we put fear on top of them and they're surrounded in this, we transform them from God delivery drivers, from love delivery drivers, to now fear delivery drivers. What does that mean? And this may be just way out there and just way too much to grasp. I don't even know. But when we are projecting fear, it changes the whole energy field dynamic, right? It changes the whole vibrational quality, I'll put it that way, of a relationship, which means what we're putting out can't help but we're kind of like asking for that type of energy. We're putting them in a bubble of fear. In some way, we're asking for that to be reflected back to us, which means their behavior towards us is going to produce fear, drama, problems, confusion, And what are you saying, Angie? That's my fault? No, I'm saying, but it is your responsibility. And if it's your responsibility and you are impacting that other person's behavior by what you're projecting onto them, then yes, you can change it. This is a good thing. This isn't like, oh, I knew you were going to somehow turn this around on me. It's not about that. It's about handing you your power back. I don't want to, this isn't me putting shame on you and building a shame wall around you. This is me handing you a key saying, you don't like that relationship? Hey, it can start with you. It can change right here. Here's the key. So let's get all our own fear walls off of them. Which what happens when we do that? What is the direct result of us dropping our fear? Our behavior changes towards them. The things we say, our attitudes, the energy that they feel coming off of us. Let's have an example. Say, and I've seen this happen. I can't remember which client it was, but it was a really incredible experience that she had, and it happened for her so quickly. And this was with I think this was a son of hers, and he's in her outer experience. She had him smothered in fears, and she had expectations of how he should be with her, how he should interact with her if he loved her, like he should visit her, he should talk to her, he should do all these things, right? And so she had this fear on top of him that he didn't love her. So when he did come in, which wasn't often because nobody wants to feel that, right? Nobody wants to come into your outer world when you're covering them up, smothering them in your own fears. He would come into her experience. Her behavior towards him was being fed or energized by the belief he doesn't love me, right? That was her fear. He doesn't love me. So when you have a belief, it drives your behavior. So you're going to act toward him like he doesn't love you, which means you're going to say, you'll resent that, like passive aggressive things, like you should love me. Look what all I've done for you, and you don't appreciate this, and you don't appreciate that, and how unappreciative you are, and how unloving you are, and you should change, and you should get better, and you should go see a therapist. And so it just came out in judgment and criticism and advice that he didn't ask for. And guess what he did with that? Ran, right? Like anybody's going to run from that. Nobody wants to be around that, right? Then after a set, she was so fast. Like I was so proud of her. She got this information so easy, and she took it and applied it like straight away. And she cleaned up her fear zone. She's like, I see it. I see what I'm doing. I see it's my own attitude. I see it's my own belief. I see it's my expectation on him. I'm going to clean that up. So she cleaned that up, which changed her behavior. What behavior changed? Well, she stopped texting him all the time. She stopped, like it just automatically changed her behavior. It wasn't like she sat down and thought, okay, well, what do I need to stop doing, or what do I need to change? By changing that belief and changing that perspective, that she was creating this between them. And she didn't want that anymore. She really didn't. And she was willing to do what it took. She said, you know what? I'm going to stop. Like, I'm going to work on this relationship with me. I'm going to stop trying to make God come to me through him, which is what I wanted. And I'm just going to go get it. I'm going to go get it for myself by really working on this in a relationship, and turn my focus back toward me and pushing me toward God and my relationship with me and loving me and giving these things to myself. What happened was all the pressure, let's see if I can do this, all the pressure, like she had been putting the pressure on him. She wanted it from him, right? And I've got this backwards from what I normally do. Okay, here's where you're supposed to be, right? Here's the outer world people. Well, she wanted she wanted him. She wanted him to give it to her. And then finally she said, it's like looking in a mirror and trying to do this. She said, okay, it's not his job. I need to go do this for myself. So anyway, that took the pressure off of him. And then she was able to just focus on herself. And guess what happened? So when she took the pressure off of him, she took the fear, she took this off the top of him, which does feel like pressure, and it feels like yuck, and it feels like I just want to get out of here and I want to run, and oh my God, I can't handle her. Like, that's what it felt like. That all just melted away because all of her energy and focus and fear that was here, it melted away because she changed her focus and her energy direction to move towards empowerment. This worked so fast for her. It was amazing. So what happened was, she's in there doing her coursework because she had really gotten into it, and the doorbell rings and she's frustrated. It's like, who is that? Like, I'm doing things, like I'm busy, I'm working, like she and it was her son, like her son, who she didn't realize, but she had not communicated with in a couple of weeks or a day. Maybe it was just days, I don't know, but it was not typical for her behavior, right? Like, he was like, what's up? Like, something's up. Like, where is she? What is she doing? Like, this isn't like her. Like, so then his attention started turning towards her instead of running from her, which he didn't want her. Like, deep down, he loves his mom, of course, but he ran because it was too much. It was just too much. But when she took that off, he's like, where'd she go? Like, where is she? What's she doing? This is odd for her. I better go check on her. Like, what's going on? He comes to her house. They have the most amazing conversation. He's opening up to her because she's not like drilling him, like, talk to me and share things with me. And she's not trying to force anything because her focus is on a healthy direction. So he becomes then open to allowing. Can you see how I'm not just telling you this stuff as some theory or perspective or something to help you understand your mind? When you apply it, it changes what you experience in your outer world. That's the whole point. Like, why would I waste my breath if this is not going to change your life? If you apply it, it will change your life. I'm not just saying that like as some whatever, like sales pitch or something. I'm telling you, these are the things that you do that change your behaviors, that then set off this whole domino effect, that then trickle out into your outer world, and your life, it cleans up. Like, it just, all the things that were dramas and problems and issues and whatever, it's just done. It's just not there, and life becomes actually enjoyable. I think that's what it's supposed to be. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, so that's an example for you. So how that they can't help but be whatever, they're just responding. The people in your outer world are just responding to you and where you are. If you're building fear walls and you're believing all these things and having attitudes and resentments and all this, they're going to respond to that. They're going to give that back to you. They're going to interact with you in that way. If you are giving them space, if you are not smothering them, putting all your attention on them, putting fear on them, resentments, shame, guilt, blah, 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 you're not dumping anything on them, but you're focused on working on you and getting you good, then that opens up so much space, and love starts coming through you because you're doing this work. Love comes through you to them in your outer world. So your outer world becomes a receiving zone. Receiving what? Love. Receiving goodness, receiving wonderful encounters, receiving wonderful relationships, receiving abundance, receiving. It becomes that instead of fear, drama. You're just running around in there creating all this craziness because you're out of alignment. Get in the line. Let's go. Okay. All right. They can only deliver fear, such as blah blah blah. You can read that. All these fear products grab our attention and pull us out of our alignment with sort. It just takes our time away from what we're supposed to be doing. Fears cause us to act and behave in ways that are outside of what is in alignment for us. So how do we clean this up? How do we turn the fear zone into a receiving zone and have everyone who exists within it deliver love and physical needs to us? Look at your sanctuary box. Go get it if you haven't already. If you're not attached to the parent wall, meaning you may not have done this, but you put the strings in there. If you're really holding on to something, you're bothered about something, you're not feeling good that day, the strings just kind of show you where you're not at peace and what is causing that peace to be elusive from you. So if you're good, all your strings are down, you're fine, you're feeling good in your body, you're not really bothered by anything, hey, guess what? You are in alignment. You're feeling calm and focused, looking straight ahead, focusing on only the things written on your creative project session or your mission room. If you've done the Tidy Mind course, your mission room, you're in alignment. It's good. Good job. I'm very proud of you. So then we want to, from that space, change the fear zone into a receiving zone. You must be able to, we have to hold it consistently. And I know, like I said before, a lot of us have this relationship of back and forth. I'm living in the outer zone. I'm living in the empowerment zone. Outer zone, empowerment zone, outer zone. To hold it consistently, we have to clean up all the mess that keeps pulling us back out. So as long as there are fears around anyone or anything that exists out there outside the true love and safety line, you are at risk for being pulled out of your consistent alignment. Those are your threats. It's not the people, it's what you believe about the people. It's what you think about the people. It's the fears you put on the people. It's all that mess. All your walls. The first thing we must do is remove every threat. Remove every block to the fear zone, becoming a receiving zone. So that doesn't mean remove people. That doesn't mean get rid of people out of there, because this means get rid of what you are thinking about the people and how you're behaving towards the people. Now, there'll be another lesson that I give in the future about boundaries, and that's a little bit different from walls. Walls are built of fear. Boundaries are built of love and wisdom and discernment to protect your alignment, because there are some people that may enter your outer zone that are actually not good. We'll talk about that later. That is another topic for another time. Anyway, then we must, after we remove the walls, the fear zone off of all the people out there, then we must surround that person or situation with consistent and constant love instead of constant fear. When we change our fear zone into a receiving zone by holding our alignment consistently and surrounding everything and everyone with love, we become a love delivery driver instead of a fear delivery driver. In day 16, we will learn the benefits of being surrounded by a receiving zone, but first we must create one. So we're changing your outer world from a fear zone to a receiving zone. And I'm going to give you a tool that's in my toolbox that I've been using for years and years and years, something that helps me, that is really easy to do and say when I'm working on, when I can feel that for some reason, maybe something in my basement, some box, something's triggered that is making me put fear on a person, and I don't know what it is yet. I will use a tool called Ho'oponopono. This is not my tool. I did not create Ho'oponopono. Dr. Hugh Lin teaches about it. There was another teacher that passed it down to him. It's an ancient Hawaiian healing technique. You may have heard of it, may not, but basically this is what it is. It's a cleaning tool, and we are working on cleaning up your outer zone. And if you want to use it, it works wonders for me, and I've told many people about it. And if you want to use it, use it. This is all it is. You say 4 phrases that hold a very high frequency energy or vibration, and it cleans up a lot of the stuff that you've got out there in that outer zone that then build those walls. Okay, here's the 4 phrases. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. How you use that is you think about that person, or you're starting to get scared again, or you're starting to think those beliefs about them again, or you're feeling threatened, or whatever, that person pops into your mind. Your focus, when anything pops into your mind, your focus or attention has gone out into away from here, away from what you're creating, and it's your focus, because a thought has popped in, and it'll pull your focus out and away into your outer zone, right? If we're ever out in our outer zone by somebody popping into our mind, we want to be thinking the highest quality thoughts possible. If we're not, we are thinking fear thoughts or resentment or hate or whatever, and we're pouring that out to them. We don't want to do that. So if someone pops into your mind, very simple thing to do, instead of the train of thoughts that you normally go through, I want you to look at those too. Like, look how probably really toxic those are that you think about other people. Don't do that. You're sending that to them. Don't. You're putting that on top of them. You're putting that between you and them, and you can't feel love together. Don't do it. Instead of thinking and saying that, I want you to say, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, I'm sorry. Just over and over the whole time that they've popped into your head. Like, don't wear yourself out, but just say it for a minute or two. And then move on, get back in alignment and go forward. That way you are pouring out blessings into that outer zone. You are cleaning up those fears just with those 4 phrases, and you are creating a receiving zone. So here's how you're going to apply today's learning. You need about 30 to 60 minutes. Wow, this is a long one. Your sanctuary box, sticky notes, a Sharpie. Write the following empowerment statements on a sticky note or print your worksheet. For a person in the fear zone, if you are in front of me, I will love you. Okay? This is anybody that you've identified. Maybe you wrote their name yesterday on the box and you're like, oh, yep, they trigger a lot of fear for me, or I've got a lot of negative thoughts going their way, and here's the fears, here's what I'm afraid of, here's the threat, and I wrote that around them. Now you're going to replace that with some love. We're going to put some love out there around them. We want to surround them with love so that they can then send love back to us. If you're saying this, bring that person up in front of you. Who is it? Like, who is it that you have this wall built around? You're scared they're going to hurt you. It's just a mess. Okay, pull them up in front of you and say, if you are in front of me, meaning you are in my outer world, if you've come into my experience, I will love you. I love you as I do my own inner child. I am empowered. When empowered, love flows through me. You never need to deserve it. I no longer care if you are a safe person to give it to. I no longer need you to give it back to me. When I am empowered, love comes out of me to you. You are not my supply of love and safety. I no longer look for it within you. I no longer cling to you. Ooh, that's a big one, isn't it? The source of my supply flows through me to you. And when you take your fear off of them, it'll flow through them to you if they are appropriate vessels. Like, God will, or source, love will use them if they are clear of their stuff. But all you can do is your part. So that's kind of a longer thing that you can say. Like, you can go to your sanctuary box, look at all the people in there that you need to clear up. It's kind of like a little prayer that you can say, you know what, this is what I'm going to do for you. This is what I'm going to do for everyone in my space. So, and then the shorter thing that you can do when they pop up into your mind during the day is the I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. All of that is cleaning. All of that is repairing. All of that is healing. Number 3, for a situation in the fear zone, you are not the supply of my needs and safety. I no longer look for it within you. So the first one was for a person. And then this next one is for, like, if it's a situation that you are really clinging to, needing it to happen. Maybe such as like getting a new house or getting a new car or getting a baby or like a situation, a happiness condition that you are really clinging to. You are not the supply of my needs and safety. I no longer look for it within you. I no longer cling to this situation as the one and the only safety and needs delivery service. The source of my supply will find another situation to bring me what I need as long as I stay aligned. I'm empowered and I will always be supplied. I will love and appreciate you while you are the physical needs delivery service, but I will never cling to you as the only one. I am open to however source energy wants to deliver anything I need and enjoy. Something that's important with situations to look at is why you want, like, what kind of feeling you're wanting out of that situation. And just realize that, you know, if having money or having a house or having a car or whatever, it makes you feel like you've succeeded, or it makes you feel whatever the feeling is, think about that and then say, there's other ways that you can get that same feeling, but not through that situation. And to leave that up to your alignment, leave that up to the highest and best way to get that to you. When we, in our little perspective, decide that it has to be like this or through this situation or through this person, we limit ourselves and we don't know because we can't see the higher, bigger picture. Don't limit yourself. 4, place these notes on top of your fear note underneath the thumbtack that represents that person or situation, or you don't have to do it that way. Do it whatever works for your little box that you've created. It's fine. If you just want to make one sticky note for the whole, just tack it up on one of the side walls somewhere and say, this is how I'm going to feel about everyone in my experience from now on. If that person or situation upsets you, go back immediately and read your empowerment statement. An empowered person is focused, consistent, supplied, and unconditionally loving. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson and join me again. I'll see you tomorrow.